Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Skyblock Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today we have a couple of important things to take care of before we get into the meat of the episode. The first of which being, I want to install a master on switch for the TNT duplicator and the cobblestone generators over here that are going to be providing cobblestone for the foreseeable future. I also need to do a little bit of expansion of this water tray just to make sure that it catches all of the drops and gets them into that chest, because today we want to be able to mass produce cobblestone for a bunch of redstone components. Today's episode is going to be all about farming the small stuff, things like sugarcane, pumpkins, melons, that kind of stuff. I want to produce automatic farms for a bunch of different things. We're not going to be going with the regular crops just yet, because I think right now they are better growing in here until we can get maybe a Ravager or something like that to do a Ravager powered crop farm. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun here in Skyblock. Let's trigger a raid, why don't we? But probably not in today's episode. I think we'll start with the stuff that we can automate using pistons and observers and that kind of thing. Maybe get a bamboo farm on the go as well. Maybe set up a large-scale cactus farm. Lots of farm projects today. But first of all, got to take care of some of the stuff we didn't quite have time for in the last episode. So let me grab some spruce wood, expand the water tray, collect some more quartz, spawn-proof this better, trade for some more redstone, build an etho hopper clock, check that it doesn't blow anything up, except what it's supposed to anyway. Set up some redstone torch towers, wire everything up to an on switch, and hope nothing breaks. Looks good so far. Yeah, that's right, we did it. I think everything should now be all synced up. All of the torches there, and over there, which you can just about see behind that row of cobblestone, are now switching on and off the components of the cobblestone generator, meaning that anytime I pull this lever, once again, it should shut everything off. We will get maybe one more TNT blast, but the clock up there should stop. The cobblestone generators have stopped also. I think that's a success. I think we can call that a success, and we are getting more cobblestone. Fantastic. So now all I should need to do is switch this thing on and leave it running in the background, and it'll produce cobblestone for us infinitely. Furthermore, it should be producing TNT frequently enough that the cobblestone here is not going to jam up. Anytime it gets close enough to connecting in the center, it's just going to be destroyed again. And we could obviously build this side by side instead of at a right angle to make sure that the cobblestone didn't have a chance to collide with each other, but I kind of like this L-shaped formation we've got going on right now, and I'm not tempted to do anything more to it. The main thing now is just to make sure this entire area stays spawn-proof, which I've tried to do with torches here and there, but hopefully all of that should work out and we will have ourselves a permanent cobblestone generator. Almost a stack already, look at that. And from over here you can just about hear the distant TNT explosions, but at least that's enough to convince me that it's not a creeper right behind me or just about to blow up, so hopefully that should be alright. Yes, excellent. Now we've got all of that, we should be able to make as many redstone components as we want to. We could even link that up to a bunch of furnaces powered by blaze rods or something similar if we wanted a greater supply of regular stone, but I have a feeling we will want to turn a lot of this cobblestone into stuff like pistons and observers in the next little while, because the next step is probably to set up a sugarcane farm. By the way, if anyone's wondering why I stopped working on the slime farm when I was kind of aiming to get magma blocks set up for this thing, it's because the slimes end up going into the campfires kind of their own accord. It occasionally happens that way, and they don't always die, but they do often end up pathfinding back that way, breaking apart and ending up in the chest. And so as a result, if we fly down here, don't worry, I've got my elytra on for this, it won't be a problem. If I swing down here and take a quick look inside the chest, yeah, we have more slime than I know what to do with right now, and that's just with this little pad of campfires and random slime pathfinding. The platform here being at void level is basically so efficient that anything I could do at this point would produce ludicrous amounts of slime, and to be honest, I rather think I've got enough right now. I'll take a few more stacks of slime balls with me, but I'm not planning on doing a huge amount more to the slime farm right now, just because building this was enough. Hey folks, welcome back. So I've been gathering supplies for our sugarcane farm, which I think we're going to build over here. We don't really have anything to build over, except maybe the slime farm, which is okay. All of that stuff down there is slabs and spawn-proof bits anyway, so we don't need to worry too much about lighting it or putting blocks over the top of it. I think it should be fine. And I've got a bunch of resources in here now, including a bunch of glass. I was AFKing at the husk farm for a little while to get some sand, trading a bit more with the villagers to get the glass, and I think we're actually going to be using the red sand that I've been getting from the wandering trader in this sugarcane farm. But let me quickly show you what happened when I AFK'd overnight. I got a whole lot of cobblestone. I left this machine running in the background, and so now we have more cobble than I really know what to do with. It's just about cleared out of the hoppers, but yeah, that entire chest filled up, and there was even a bunch left over, so goodness knows we made more cobble than we could ever have used. But I've been smelting that down into regular stone, which I guess we could turn it into stone bricks if we want to, and I think I might do that for a few areas of this. I think what we're mainly going to be doing is setting up a multi-tiered sugarcane farm around here, and I've been farming a little bit of wood for the purposes of building up around the outside of that, and the glass is going to be there because, you know what, I really want to be able to see the insides of this thing. I want to see it working. Let's see if we've got a few hoppers handy in here as well. We do, because I think what we're going to do is have a single output going to a chest here instead of multiple outputs from the multiple sugarcane farms. It sort of makes the most sense to me. So let's grab, oh, we got a bit of wood in the inventory already. Let's see if we can make an output chest for all of the sugarcane to go into, and this isn't going to be a super large farm quite yet. We might expand it in future, but for now, I think we're just going to make it a regular size, maybe like 4 or 5, maybe 6 total areas where sugarcane is being farmed at once. And I think roughly the center of this platform about there is going to be the best place to put the output. That looks about right to me. So we're going to have the hoppers split out into 2 directions, and these are going to be the 2 first modules of the sugarcane farm. We're going to have to build them 3 blocks apart because of some redstone stuff that I'm going to explain in a minute, but we're effectively going to be building these mirrored. Let's grab the shulker box and bring it over. That's probably going to be better than running back and forth like this. It's so nice to have transportable inventory at long last. All right, so what we're going to do is place a powered rail on each of these, and it's going to be activated by the block next to it. So that's going to mean we have a sugarcane farm that only really harvests stuff when it's got stuff to harvest. That's the idea, at least. We'll put the stone bricks along the side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only need 7 of those on each side, like so. And on each side here, we're going to put a single rail, like so, and then some powered rail going all the way to the end. So 6 powered rail, 1 regular rail, and a powered rail sitting here at the end next to this set of hoppers. We'll do the same on the opposite side, like so. And then on the end of each of these, which might be a little bit difficult to place at this point, let's come around like so. And we need to put a block next to that powered rail here. So I guess, yeah, like that. That's what we want. We're going to come out on this bridge. We're going to do the same on that side. Powered rail needs a solid block on it if the minecart is going to return in that direction. So we'll probably want to put a solid block there and there as well. And those are later going to be the ones conducting the redstone power, bringing the minecart back and forth. I've got 2 levers that we're going to attach to the back of each of these, just so the levers don't have to sit on the front. That's going to be powering the main section of powered rail, but this one here is going to remain unpowered until any sugarcane gets produced by the farm, and then it's just going to power on briefly, let the hopper minecart run back and forth, and then return to that rail again. We'll do the same on the opposite side here. And so now we're going to grab the red sand, and we're going to start using this as the base material for our sugarcane. You can grow sugarcane on sand, dirt, or red sand, and I think the red sand is just going to stand out nicely in this skyblock environment. We don't really have any material like this out there right now, and I'm tired of everything being grey, so let's inject some orange into the mix here. I think that's going to look quite nice. Now, if you know anything about sugarcane, you probably know that it needs to have water next to it in order to grow. So we're actually going to put a trough of water back here, and that's what's going to make sure the sugarcane stays hydrated and is able to grow on the red sand here. So I think that's probably going to end up on this side here, and we're going to place the water bucket there, and it's going to flow that way so that it has the least chance of interfering with the redstone that we need to run down this side of the machine. So we'll square this off at the back to make sure the water cannot flow out the back of the machine, and that should do. Place the water there, and let's go and do the same thing on the opposite side, making sure that we have the rails here isolated from the water, because rails, of course, will break if they come into contact with flowing water. So probably best if we make sure that those are safe, and then around the side here we can just fill in the sides. From this point, it should now be possible to fill in those sections of the farm with some sugarcane. So I'm going to harvest a little bit here. I don't know if I have any left in the chest. I think I've been turning most of it into paper at this point, but that should be enough to get us started at least. And then once it starts to grow on here, we will have ample opportunity to get a little bit more and finish off the rest of this. And in front of this, we're going to put a wall of glass, because when the pistons push this thing, it's probably going to mean that some of it gets pushed off of this block, but some of it will come to rest on the block. And the idea is that with a glass wall in front of it, it'll all come to rest on the block and be collected up via hopper minecart with this rail here underneath. So I'll grab the, oh, of course, I've got it over here. I'll grab the glass and put that in front of the sugarcane here, just to remind us that that's how we intend to put a front on this thing. So I'm going to break down the spruce logs into planks, and I think we'll use planks for the top half of this. I really like the combination of spruce wood and stone brick. I think it's going to look pretty cool. And on the back here, basically along this back wall, is where we need to place a row of planks. This is not going to serve any redstone purpose. The redstone components are going to sit on top of this. We just need to make sure there is one row at the back there so that the bottom row of sugarcane does not get broken, because that's the thing that's going to be able to perpetually grow. On top of that, we're going to be placing a row of pistons, and these are going to be regular pistons, not the sticky kind. And by the way, each of these modules is only 8 blocks long, because that's the maximum distance water can flow, meaning that the water that's underneath there is going to be able to touch every single piece of sand in here and is going to allow sugarcane to grow on every block. 1 block longer than that, and you would need additional water in there, which is still an option. You can still absolutely do that if you want to, but we are going to be removing this block here and this block here in a minute, and the water would flow out of it if it was anything more than that. Let's quickly get some sleep while we can, and we'll return to this in a second. Alright, hopping over to the back of the contraption here, we're going to place a row of spruce planks along the back here. This is where the redstone is going to be traveling once we have the observers in place. So let me hop over to this other side, place a row of planks on there as well. We're going to be putting redstone on top of those, but first of all, it gives us a platform where we can stand back a little bit and make sure these observers are facing in the correct position. Now, you could space these observers out every other block if you wanted to. It would mean that the farm only triggered when certain sections of sugarcane grew up in front of these, but on average that's going to be all growing at the same rate, so hopefully a few of these observers should be triggered if you don't have the resources, or if you feel like conserving resources at this time. And I think I'm going to need to craft a few more observers, which just means farming a bit more quartz and making sure we have enough redstone traded from the villagers, but the cobblestone is taking care of itself at this point, which is why I feel like it's a luxury we can afford at this point to make sure every single piece of sugarcane is going to be detected as it grows. Next up, we're going to place the row of redstone dust along the back here on top of these blocks, and that's going to power each of the pistons as soon as any of these observers outputs a redstone signal. It's just going to go jumping down the line, making sure all of them activate at once. And I will demonstrate that if I can grab a little bit more sugarcane from over there. Looks like some of it has grown, and we should be able to finish off that side of the farm there as well. And that is why I'm really happy to have a Elytra right now, so I can save myself from silly mistakes like just jumping off the island the way I did. There we go. So now, as you can see, we have a full row of sugarcane, and if we build the sugarcane up to the top part there, the entire row of pistons pushes out. And in this case, it's dropped a couple of the sugarcane onto the sand there. Sometimes it would push it forward, but that's why we're going to build up this glass wall in front of the farm so no sugarcane can escape, and it'll get collected up underneath. Now we need to work on a mechanism that is going to allow the minecart down there to be powered as soon as these observers trigger, or slightly after the observers trigger, just so it can run underneath the sand, collecting up anything that has dropped on top of here, because hopper minecarts will be able to pick something up through a 1 block high space like that, through a single block above them. And for that, we're going to need a couple of redstone repeaters, actually. So let me quickly craft a couple of redstone torches. We should have enough redstone dust and smooth natural stone, rather, to make ourselves another repeater. And we're going to have those running into this block down here, which is going to mean we'll need another block on the back of these, like so. The repeater is going to be facing into that block like that. And I think what we're going to do is take another observer off of the side here and have a 9th redstone dust on each side. So let me grab a couple more observers. We're going to need slightly more than we initially thought. Let's pop an observer in there facing downwards like so. looking at the top corner of the block to make sure it is placed facing upwards. Yeah, and that's going to transmit a redstone signal downwards. In fact, we could probably put that one block further down now that I think about it. Yeah, I've placed a block there as a placeholder. We can put an observer there and observer there. That's going to make sure they're facing downwards. We can remove this block because that's not doing anything, and then have a dot of redstone dust on top of each of these like so. That should power the block below it, or at least transfer the redstone current into this repeater, which we're going to set to 3 ticks on each side, because that is going to lengthen the pulse ever so slightly, giving the minecart enough time to move from that powered rail. If you just had a single pulse of a length that the observer normally gives out, it wouldn't actually move the minecart at all, because it would be brief enough that the rail wouldn't exactly turn on. Let me quickly show you that, actually, because I can compare the two of them if we make a couple of hopper minecarts now. Obviously, with the iron farm still working, hopper minecarts are really not an expense at this stage. I've got plenty of wood that I can use to make the chests for the hoppers, and then everything else is just iron. So I'll put one hopper minecart underneath here, one hopper minecart on the opposite side, like so, and I'll show you the difference between the two signals, right? So right now, this repeater is set to 1 tick. It's set to the default repeater delay, and if I break this block here to activate the circuit, that has done nothing because it wasn't enough for the minecart to move. Whereas if I break this one here with a delay on 3 ticks, the minecart actually moves underneath the circuit once, and all we need to do is place a piece of redstone dust on top of here, like so, and now anytime that redstone dust receives power, it should activate the observer circuit, and the repeater set to 3 ticks will give the minecart enough time to move, as it's doing over there, and it will automatically come to rest here, empty the content into this hopper. As I mentioned before, the redstone current coming through here will briefly lock this hopper for the duration of the redstone signal, but it's very short, only enough for the minecart to move once and then return to its station, meaning anything it unloads will end up in this chest without issue. And that is effectively this module of the farm complete, which means all we need to do is decorate it a little bit. And I think I'm probably going to use spruce wood for the upper part of this. We're going to transition from the stone brick, and we're going to add glass to the front of both of these sections so we can make sure the sugarcane remains inside the farm to be collected by the minecart hoppers, making it a lossless farm. I was a lot happier having a lossless design than I was with one that relied on the sugarcane getting pushed into water streams, because yeah, the water streams don't always collect it, whereas the minecart hopper always does. And with smallish farms like this, you really want to try and maximize your output where you can. Of course, since this is Skyblock, we are going to try and make sure that this remains a spawn-proof thing. Remember that observers are also going to be solid blocks, so we'll need to make sure there's some lighting up here. We could replace this with some more sophisticated-looking lighting blocks. Of course, we've got access to glowstone through trading with clerics as well, so I might add some of that to the top here. But right now, yeah, this does seem like it's going to be a functional sugarcane farm. If I place 2 sugarcane on here, all of the pistons activate at once. The drops get collected up by the hopper minecart. That looks like it worked well. And the hopper minecart empties stuff into the hoppers, which then end up in this chest. Great. Okay, so that is going to be working fine, and I think I might end up taking down the manual sugarcane farm that we have over here once I've built a couple more modules of this machine. And a little bit of time later, we have ourselves 4 modules of a working sugarcane farm. I like the look of this. It's really nice having something this big and official looking. It's all symmetrical, it's all redstoned up, and I'm really happy with it so far. It's certainly got a decent amount of sugarcane in here already. We've managed to have a harvest of both of these farms when they were completely full up as well, which is kind of great. The sugarcane will grow sort of randomly, but eventually it'll all fill up, and he's managed to even off completely before one part of it grew and ended up in the chest. So we are now looking at an automatic sugarcane yield, which means I can finally take down this farm. And I think I'll probably expand this a little bit more as well, but I want to leave a little bit of room nearby for more farms like this. If anything, we could even just stair-step this down the way we have here, but on the opposite side as well, having double the farm and have it just look like this on one side, but then build the same thing on the other side. It's going to require crafting a few more redstone components, but we are farming everything we need to get those at this point in time. And if you're wondering why I didn't just make a 0-ticking sugarcane farm, there are a couple of reasons for that. The first of which being that those are actually going to be fixed as of the next update to Minecraft. Minecraft 1.16 is fixing the bug which causes things like sugarcane, bamboo, and cactus to grow if if blocks underneath them or beside them are 0 ticked. And so I thought it was kind of nice to build something that was going to be a bit more permanent in the event that this Skyblock series continues into the next update to Minecraft. The other thing I was a little bit concerned by was just having something that was kind of big and nice and looked good, because I don't think 0 tick farms look all that nice, and I like the idea of building something that's going to be a permanent feature of our world and is going to look kind of cool. And personally, I really like the red sand that we've got in here and the fact that everything is nice and kind of even out. I have realized that I've just left one block there as spruce wood instead of stone brick, so I want to make sure that it's, there we go, symmetrical. There we go, fix that for you guys, sorry about that. But I think it should, it should be nice to have some more farms like this that look aesthetically pleasing. I think there's just a nice symmetry to it, a nice order to it, that I think is going to be really nice to have as part of the world. And it's sat there next to our very kind of asymmetrical house, which, just kind of looks really nice to me as a contrast. But that's going to be it, I think, for this episode of the Skyblock Survival Guide. We kind of did a step-by-step for the sugarcane farm, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's been a while since I really built anything like that, that's just kind of basic, essential redstone-powered farm, and I hope you guys liked that for the episode today. Don't forget to leave a like on it if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care, bye for now.